Hello again, everyone. Um, Here we are again. This is week 2 of progress on Gatecrashers. As you can see, there have been a couple changes made to the UI. That was most of the changes for this week. Was reworking the UI to be a little bit closer to the experience that we want to deliver. So here we got a battle going on. As you can see, the actor window is now on the side. We're presenting health and energy, as well as what your aggro multiplier is based on your formation. I believe I already had some of this kind of stuff working last time, but I would need to go back and check. And we have restored the battle log. So the battle log did exist, but it was sort of on top of the screen, and now is on the bottom, along with the actor and party command windows, which are favoring sort of a grid layout, as much as that is possible. You can also see that we're making use of a mini map. I really tried to make the FOE encounters work without the minimap, and turns out you need just like a lot more peripheral vision in order for those to sort of feel fair. Even with peripheral vision, they sometimes feel a little bit unfair. So I think that that's something that I'm just gonna have to keep iterating until that has a more sort of satisfying experience. Or satisfying like anticipation. Here you can see that we have added in additional slots. You have sort of 2 weapon slots, 2 sort of guard slots, and 2 add-on slots. We get into the FOE battle, which previously had been turned off, and this is here to sort of showcase what a difficult encounter could be like. We give the player the opportunity to run in the event that like this gets pretty near wiping them. But if you notice, we actually gave the player a tool that allows them to sort of cheese the encounter if they want. So these volt grenades deal volt damage, which is particularly effective against robot enemies, and it'll get you most of the way there. Right? So even here, it's a little bit hairy, right, as to whether it's going to actually finish them off. So yeah, you can use up the second one, right, as a 1.2, but you no longer have access to volt grenades, at least until you can start making them in the last floor of this tutorial dungeon. So here you can see most of the party is dead. On the audio, you may have heard some of their death cries. That's a thing that I noticed was kind of missing, and I wanted to put that in there. We also want some descriptions in the battle log as well. So in the event that this does happen to a new player, we do give them the opportunity to head back, heal up. There are actually no encounters possible in that small stretch to the medical hallway, and so that sort of becomes a safe place that you can operate from. That being said, being able to recharge the med stations relies on you making progress to like later floors. Right? Okay, so here we have an ambush. There was a bit of a mistake in that battle log. It shouldn't have shown the ambush text twice. I'll fix that. But yeah, when you get ambushed, at least the first turn, your escape is sealed. That way we're just sort of making sure that the ambush takes away sort of enough resources from you, right, in order to be able to deal with it. Here, they're up against 2 space rats. That's not too bad. But you can run into the roaches here. The roaches can be particularly challenging before you get like a ranged weapon. And yeah, here I think we are seeing that the weapon wielders are missing a fair bit. So this got me thinking about the possibility of implementing evasion damage. This is something that newer wizardries have tried out, where certain types of weapons will deal wizardry damage regardless, right, of wizardry damage. Will deal evasion damage regardless of whether the hit happens or not. And this is for weapons where like you're not really counting on the weapon to deal a ton of damage. It's like for like staves and wands and that kind of thing. But you're sort of setting up other party members, and I think it could be kind of useful here. It would help with target prioritization, right? If yeah, even like on a miss, right? Like that sort of setting up for the eventual hit. I'll need to work out how that works with hit rate and evasion. There's some interesting stuff that I want to play with there, such as the idea of having crit rate be based on having too much hit rate, but maybe that idea is kind of dumb. Like the thought of having like so imagine like if you have plus 100% hit rate on top of like your existing 100% hit rate, right? I would want you to be able to sort of guarantee your crits, right? There, something like that. So now that we're here, so one of the things to mention is that yeah, you're seeing that previously we had 4 party members, now we have 6. We will probably still have 4. I'm just sort of testing out the UI, right? What it looks like when like you have a full party complement. One of the things, these early encounters, right? A lot of it, even if you are like sort of having like bad weapons and just awful luck, can be just mitigated by the strength of the total number of actions your party can take. And you don't feel sort of as stressed to have to use things like changing the order, using guard, playing with different types of weapons, right? If you can just sort of rely on the sort of auto attacks of the map, right? So we actually want to start the player off with fewer party members in order to make sure that they like internalize certain things about the combat, and then as time goes on, we can sort of scale up the encounters in order to keep demanding those things lightly, right? While the player is sort of building out each of the characters to kind of do their own thing. Next week we'll get into the sort of class and ability design, but yeah, one of the things you may have noticed is that we're having energy. So ranged weapons are currently tied to energy. I am going back and forth on whether ranged weapons should use ammo, which is just a type of item that is in your inventory, and then the entire party uses different, like will have access to it, so you will need to sort of ration it amongst party members, right? The best use of it. So that still introduces a limitation, prevents sort of like the entire party from just having ranged weapons. Rather, you have sort of ranged specialists, right? But I did want to tie it into this sort of energy resource, which I wanted to use for other skills, and I'm trying to sort of gauge whether, because the way that ranged weapons work is that you don't get countered if you use them. Like there is no counter chance against them, and so you sort of can use them to diffuse certain situations like that. Once enemy rows start to be a thing, they'll be useful there as well. So it almost makes ranged weapons sort of like almost like a mage like type of strategy, right? As opposed to the more warrior type of strategy with melee weapons and guarding and trying to ensure counters. So once you have a couple weapons, you're in a pretty decent spot to deal with these roller wardens. They're not nearly as intimidating once, for example, you have the iron wrench. But yeah, they can still take out individual party members, right, if you're not careful. Those hollow shields, they really help because the general amount of damage that the roller wardens do is in like 30 to 50 range. And they have that really nasty triple attack that you saw in the first encounter, which can take out multiple party members. Again, going back and forth on like whether like that should be in the first floor, but I do want to sort of stress that like, hey, stay clear if you're low on resources, only engage, right? Like maybe sort of have a strategy kind of going into it. So here we're having to sort of switch out party members to do basically the equivalent of chump blocking, right? So if that party member at the top goes down, that's not a whole loss, because the key with the roller warden fights is that you want to keep up the members of your party that have weapons, because they're the ones that can deal meaningful damage to the roller warden. If you just have sort of unarmed, right, you're dealing one damage to them every single time. So even if you have additional actions, right, they're not nearly as useful. Okay, here we're getting ambushed by roaches, and yeah, the roaches end up taking out somebody that we didn't like, sort of shuffle in the party. I do want some of these surprises to kind of happen. One of the things I want to play around with ambushes is reversing the party orders, so that those kinds of like incidents can happen a little bit more. That you can't rely on the party order and your frontliners always being able to deal right with that. Given that switching your order is turnless here, that basically means that there's one turn that you have to suffer, which is the same turn that you can't escape, right? And then yeah, you can sort of reform your order, right, and sort of deal with it. I noticed in the Final Fantasy games, like those Super Nintendo ones, whenever we got like back attack and stuff, I just kind of like powered through it. The row change doesn't really have that big of an impact, and that's something that I always noticed, is that you can either, like, if you get back attack, you can like sort of guarantee and run away, or you can just sort of like power through, and because you deal half damage instead of like no damage at all. So I'm hoping to make things a little bit more intentional here. Okay, so here we have our first example of dual wielding. This is massively advantageous. Light weapons, you can carry two light weapons at the same time. They don't have to be at the same time. You can carry one melee, one ranged, and that's kind of what we sort of prefer you to do. You can carry two melee and two ranged, and I want to introduce like a hit bonus that you get when you do attacks with that. And then later in the dungeon, you will run into yeah. So here we get a particularly lucky set of events where you have your damage multiplier dealing crush damage with the wrench, as well as the critical. So like that's a times 0.5, right, and times 0.2, and so suddenly you have this huge spike in damage. I don't necessarily want that to be the case, but yeah, that's what we're working with. Okay, and so yeah, lastly, you can see that you move to a new floor, right? You have to start mapping again, and that's part of the fun of it. So that was a little bit more rambly than I wanted, but hopefully you can see that certain newer elements of the project are coming through, and yeah, I hope to continue to work on this, make more meaningful decisions next week. Though I think next week is a little bit busy for me day job wise, so I think maybe the week after, but I'll still make an update next week and be like, yeah, I got X, Y, and Z implemented. I think you all are probably getting pretty tired of watching the first floor, right? Like that segment. So the next time we do one of these, we will show B1F for real this time. Okay. Well, thank you all for listening to me, and I will see you next time we do an update. Bye.